Hey, Kerry here. Just this week, I was on one of the group Facebook pages that I belong to, and a young lady by the name of Natalie Flahy, I believe that's how it's pronounced, asked, has anybody ever documented their actual selling proposition that they share with their listings as to how they're going to sell their house? Well, I started to outline in a response exactly what I do, and I realized what I was doing was I was explaining to her my formula for selling homes 2019. And as you can see, it's a 3-page document that I actually use to mail out to people, and it's the formula that I follow. And I want to share that with you today. And I'm going to take you through an actual house and how I did it. So stay with me on this. Okay, what I'm going to do is I just got an offer on a house last night, and I submitted it this morning. And I want to take you through how I got this house sold and what I presented to the homeowner when they asked me to come out and talk about listing their home. Now, it was an expired listing, and I will do another video later this week about how I then proceeded to get the house sold. So if you're interested in that video as well, go down below and click subscribe and then tap the bell, and that way you will be notified when I post that video as well. So how did I sell this one? And again, it was using my formula for selling homes. If you'd like a copy of this document, it's a 3-page document, go to bestofusagents.com and sign up there, and that'll put you on my autoresponder. And about the second document you receive will be this one. The first one will be the puzzled letter, the letter that I used on expired listings, and I'll explain that in my next video. Are you puzzled as to why your house isn't selling? But let's look now at specifically my, I guess you'd call it my listing presentation and what I tell people. And I think the question that the seller is truly asking you is, how are you different than every other agent that wants to list my house? I understand you all want a commission, but how are you different? Okay, the first thing I tell them is we've got to identify your potential buyer. Now, is that bizarre? Is that out of reason? Well, no. If let's say they have a $750,000 home, who's going to buy that home? Can we logically figure out who's going to buy a $750,000 home? Yeah, it's probably going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an entrepreneur, a banker, a financial advisor. So we got them down to 5 potential work positions. We also know from the National Association of Realtors that 60%, 58 actually percent of the people who buy a house live within a 3-mile radius of the house that they buy. Well, now why would that be? Because they don't want to change churches or synagogues. They're comfortable with the supermarket, the grocery store that they currently go to. They don't want to change doctors. They don't want to change hairdressers and barbers. So they're going to stay within their comfort zone. And Realtors, National Association of Realtors says that 60% of them will be there. So, okay, how do we identify those people? Well, if we've got a $750,000 home, we know that they aren't going, the buyer has probably lived in their current home anywhere from 6 to 10 years. Can we go to our MLS and search by zip code and find who has bought a house for, let's say, $350,000 to $500,000 in a period of 6 to 10 years ago? Yeah, We can get that information. We download those. We put them on a spreadsheet. Then we download the tax information from that same zip code, and we can bring them together. We can put names and addresses to the people who bought a house for $350,000 to $500,000 6 to 10 years ago. Well, there's our target market number one. That's who we're going to go after, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. That's target number one. Target number two is we're going to search our MLS for the agents who have sold the homes for let's say $600,000 to $800,000 over the past 3 years in this neighborhood. You're going to be surprised to find out it's going to come down to about somewhere between 60 and 150. So can we get their email addresses? Yeah. It may be a task. It may be that you've got to go in and search each agent name by name and get their email address, but we can get it. And that's an asset that we're going to hold. So that's our target market number two. We got the people in the 3 mile radius, that's number one. We got the 150 agents that sell the homes, because we know there's a 90% probability that we're not going to sell the home. Some other agent's going to bring in. So that's our target market number two. Number three is we know there's a 22% probability that the people are going to come from outside the 3 mile radius, but within the state. 22% probability. Again, these are statistics from the National Association of Realtors. What we're going to do with them, and I'll go into that more detail, is we're going to reach them through Facebook. Okay? Our target market number four is the people who have a house for sale within a 3 mile radius. Now, why would we want to go after them? Because we know that 85% of them are going to buy another house. Are they all going to buy another house in the same community? No, some of them are going to be retired people and they're going to be leaving the community. But we know 86% of them are going to buy another house. We also know that they're probably going to be downsizing. So now we look for those people who have a house of $1 million to $1,250,000, who have a house that they're selling, and we're going to go through the same process of identifying them and creating our target market number four. Okay? That's the four markets that we're going after. That makes sense? Okay. Now, think about you're a seller, and I just go through and tell you this. Has anybody else told them that? No. That's why I get $1 million listings, because I have a plan. I've actually had a homeowner say, my God, Kerry, you're the first person who has come in here with a plan. Okay, now we know who we're marketing to. How are we going to market? The mainstay of my marketing is video. I do a 6 to 8 to 10 minute video, walk and talk video on every house that I sell or that I list. I go through the house and I explain it. I use that, and here is, I'm going to show you right here, this is a picture of the 8-minute video that I used on this house. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you the link to that video so you can see what the walk and talk video looks like. Okay, how do I target these people? My target market, number 1, 2, and 3, I use 4 basic vehicles. Facebook advertising, and I use custom audiences. Remember, I've got the names and addresses of these people. I'll upload those into Facebook and say, hey, these are people I know. I have some level of relationship. This is my custom audience. This is who I want you to deliver my ad to. And then I'll push, I also want lookalikes. So I also not only get them, but I get their friends, all right? I go to LinkedIn. I have built a database on LinkedIn. I think now it's up to 4,500. Roughly 1,300 of those people live in Birmingham. So I will post roughly every third day a post on LinkedIn to go to my target market. And I will be showing the various houses that I have listed, and I'll be showing other information about the real estate markets, because the other objective I have is to establish myself as the real estate authority of this community. I'll do an email blast, and I'll send them to all the people who live in my community that I have on my email. What is that going to do? It's a peek into somebody else's house. So I'll send a letter with my logo up on top and my face down on the bottom, and then I'll say something like, this is a new home that I've just listed and you really got to see this. I'll show a picture of it. I'll say, click here to see the video, and they can click and they will go see the video of the house. On my videos, I get anywhere from 100 clicks, and I'll explain later as to how I get sometimes 2,500 clicks on the video of my listings, okay? And I explain that to the homeowner as I'm saying, well, how am I different? If your house is the right house, I can get you up to 2,500 clicks or viewings or showings, if you will, on your house. That builds a tremendous amount of awareness. Okay. Then my target number 4 market is basically our 3 and 4, those people who live out of state, and the people homes for sale, is used through Zillow. I'm not a fan of Zillow. I have never bought a lead from them. I never will buy a lead from them. I shouldn't say that. They may come up with some fantastic program that I don't know about at this point. And that's done through professional photography. I don't know how many times I have seen, I go to a listing and I see a $600,000-800,000 home, and I look at it and say, they took the pictures with their camera. You look through, and please, you can tell when a picture was taken with a camera or it was taken by a professional. If you're going to sell a $500, $600, $800 million home, for God's sakes, put some money into it and get some professional photography. And as I'm saying, you need to do a video, and you need to have a drone shot in that video, because that then gives them a relevance of the property that you're trying to sell them, okay? Then the next thing that I do is, everybody has somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 friends on Facebook and 450 email addresses. I send the seller a copy of the video, and I say, share this on your Facebook page and share this on your email. You want to enlist your friends and family to help you sell your house. Well, then put it in front of them. Use that video so that because you don't know that your sister may know somebody who knows somebody who is looking for a house just like yours in Birmingham, Alabama. So you just broaden your scope. Then the other thing that I do is I ask the other agents that I work with to collaborate with me. At times, I go to younger agents and say, would you like to stand in front of my $1 million house and do a video? I'll shoot it. I'll even download it and send it to you, and then you share it with your potential clients. You are giving them an avenue to promote themselves within the eyes of their sphere of influence. Maybe they only sell $200,000 homes, and all of a sudden, their friends see them standing in front of $1 million home and then taking them a short walk through it. Use collaboration to take your business. Now, again, do I share this with the homeowner that I'm trying to get the listing? You bet I do. Because again, what they want to know is, Kerry, how are you different than every other agent who want to sell my house? I've got to give them some reason why I'm different. Then the most important one, I show up for every showing. That's right, I'm there for every showing. And why do I want to do that? because I want to know who the potential buyer is, and I want to act as a salesman to sell my listings home. You don't know how many people have said to me, nobody else does that. Why do you do it? And my answer to them is, would you buy a Ferrari without a salesman present? You can buy a Ferrari for roughly $700,000. You're selling a $700,000 house. Why wouldn't you be present? So I show up. And again, that's how I get listings. I have a dedicated website. I use Real Geeks. Go down below here in my description and you will see a link to Real Geeks website. Learn about it. It's going to cost you somewhere around $240 a month, and then show them. Look at my website, bestofushomes.com. I have doctored it above their website. But again, if you're in business and you want someone to sell your product, shouldn't you have a store? Well, your dedicated website is your store, and the website that your broker is providing you is not a store. You need to have a website that sells you and your brand and how you're different, and you can go onto it and learn what I've just told you as to what kind of a formula you have for selling homes in your community. If you're going to be in the business, be in the business and go after and become the authority in your market. So that's my answer to the young lady is, you have to be different, and you have to have a formula that they can identify with that sets you apart from every other agent. So that's what I do. That's how I do it. The next video I'm going to do is going to be how I sold the house that I just showed you how I got the listing. All right? So stay with me. This market is going to change. Our ranks are going to shrink in half within the next 5 years because only the professionals are going to survive. And you've got to decide today, are you or aren't you? Are you a professional or aren't you a professional? And if you're a professional, get a dedicated website, start showing up for your showings, give them a formula for selling the house, and start using professional photography and video. Okay? I got more to tell you later.